Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 80 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined in person today by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
This is weird.
Yeah, it's like the weirdest thing we've ever done.
So we have just finished both sessions at Great American Beer Festival, and I guess we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah, again, this is it's kind of cool, like, to be in the same room. I don't know how to record a podcast with another person in the room. Yeah, so what did you think?
It was a lot of fun. We saw some gentlemen on the escalator up, and they looked at their ticket, and they exclaimed to each other that they had tickets to heaven. And I distinctly remember feeling that way the first time we went.
Plus, the escalators are going up, and it's kind of this, yeah.
That's true. It does feel like you're ascending into heaven. But I don't feel exactly that level of excitement anymore, but it's close.
Yeah, we probably said something equally stupid the first year. But yeah, I don't know. It's exciting to me. I think I get super, super hyped when I'm looking at the list and picking out where I want to go, and then you get there, and there's so many people, and I don't really like people. So it's like, oh, okay. And then I have all my, my glass in my hand anxiety that I have to fight with. But it's funny, like each location I go to, I get the beer, and then I have to like walk out and try and find some sort of like clear area where I'm not bumping elbows with people.
Yes.
Before I can like smell and taste my beer.
Yeah, well, I know people do kind of just bump into you all the time. So
yeah.
You do have to protect the beer.
Yeah. Well, it's like almost like I can't think about what I'm doing until I'm in like a free space with no other people. But yeah, so it's this is our 4th year?
I think so, yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
I think that we've done this 4 times and we still don't know what we're doing. So yeah, I'm getting back to the excitement part. It's definitely exciting to me, and I think this year even more so because I just felt like more connected to everything that we were doing because of the podcast and what we learned about these beers and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we had a deeper appreciation for like a lot of the styles because of all of the deep dives we've done. Yeah.
Plus, this was a year where like with the stouts, that was like the main things on our list anyway, and I was actually excited about them this year.
Yeah, you actually liked them this time.
Yeah.
I called it. We got to go back into what episode it was.
When you said I was gonna like it.
Yeah.
Gonna learn to like it. Yeah.
Come to the dark side.
I think it's partially a level of like where we're at in our beer drinking, where I'm at least, where I need something to challenge me.
Right.
And those will continuously challenge me. And I think like picking flavors out of those is a lot harder too.
It's hard in that environment as well. There's a lot of just stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So we'll recap first session. First beer we even tried, I think, was we just kind of walked by Belgium Brewing, and I remember that being on our list. And so we tried a barrel-aged stout from them called Night Tendal Dawns.
Yes. And
it ended up being one of my favorite beers of the whole festival. Just like one of the best chocolate tasting beer. Like this amazing dark chocolate flavor, but like it felt like you were drinking like a really, really expensive, fancy dark chocolate.
Nice. Yeah.
Not like Hershey's dark chocolate.
Right.
Yeah. And it just tasted like liquid dark chocolate to me.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good starting, and I knew right away from your reaction that you were going to have a good time because I knew you were going to enjoy a lot of the rest of the stouts we were going to try.
Yeah, so that was a good way to start off. I guess kind of it like in a way became the standard where I was measuring everything else up to. Because I was like, oh, that's really, really, really good. Okay, I really, really like that. And then everything else was like, okay, do I like that more than I did?
We should have went back and got it again, like halfway through.
Yeah.
The stuff was kicking a lot this year, though.
That really, really surprised me. And maybe, I think, too, that we were so in tune this year with, like, the stuff that the elite beers there, that we were trying to get all the elite beers, and those are the ones that were running out, which makes sense. But
yeah, I feel like we got the first night or her first session, we got to Bottle Logic within the first hour, and that pistachio cryopreservation had already kicked, and I was like, no, oh my gosh, this stuff was gonna go so fast.
yeah, there with their lineup, I guess it wasn't surprising, but that one went so fast. But even like at the end of the second session, Russian River had run out of everything.
Yeah, there were a couple. Russian River, Weldworks, they literally cashed every beer they were pouring. It was wild because we were kind of walking by and they said, oh, look, the Russian River line is so short. Let's go check out what they have. And we walked up and they had nothing.
Yeah, I guess we should have known.
That's why they had a short line.
I guess that's why. Yeah, no line, yeah. And this was like, I mean, there was still probably an hour left.
Yeah, it wasn't at the end of the session.
And I don't know whether that, historically, that happens or not.
I don't remember it happening to that level. Stuff runs out, but I don't remember seeing like a lot of breweries where they just ran out of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's talk about some other favorites.
Okay.
What was your favorite?
Well, I got to do the experiment I set out to do. I got to drink Rusty Nail from Fremont Brewing and Fundamental Observation from Bottle Logic within like 10 minutes of each other, which is amazing. And yeah, it was no contest. Fundamental Observation is still my favorite beer in the world.
Should have done like a drum roll before that.
And it was really good. I don't know, that bottle I had, I felt like it had lost some of its character. Maybe it was a little too old, but for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it was the excitement of the festival. No, the bottle, the Fundamental Observation.
Oh, okay.
Because I drank one like a couple weeks ago, I think, or a couple months ago on the podcast.
Okay.
And I felt a little underwhelmed by it, and that's kind of why I felt like, oh, maybe Rusty Nail's better. But when I chased them in this setting, and I assume under like conditions where the beer was properly stored and stuff, that bottle I got, like, you know, through the mail, and I just don't know if it was already a couple years old. I don't know like how properly stored and stuff like that, so I can't vouch for its, you know, how good it was. But you know, obviously what they're bringing to the festival has been, they're bringing their best, right? So all that stuff's been carefully transported and temperatures have been maintained. So yeah, that was the highlight for me. And then actually just Bottle Logic in general, we also were lucky enough to try one of their Magnum timed pours, the Fall of Izumi,
Umibozu, I think.
Yeah, Umibozu or something like that. Yeah, and it had.
Yeah, so this beer is brewed with. It was a collab with Toppling Goliath,
which was exciting for you because they weren't there.
They don't come anymore, and it's really frustrating to me. But I won't cry too much about that. I'll just write them a nasty email. Yeah, so it was a collaboration with Toppling Goliath, and they use these apparently amazing coffee beans. You had never heard of them, right?
No.
These geisha coffee beans. Yeah,
I'm not a coffee person, but I'm
the first time I learned about them, but apparently they're like not bitter at all. That's the thing. It's like a bitterless coffee. So they're highly sought after beans. Apparently they wanted to make a beer with them, which some people, I was reading some like beer advocate reviews of this beer, and they were like, I mean, it's good, but probably not worth putting these beans into beer. But
yeah, I'm sure there was some coffee people that were probably like, how dare they waste geisha.
Right. But no, it made a fantastic beer. And one of the things I kind of learned over all these stouts that we drank over the last couple of days is that I do like coffee forward stout. I mean, which is funny because I think like one of my favorite beers was the Cane Brewing stout, but which seemed to be a lot more chocolate. But overall, I like to get a good coffee note, and this one just happened to be really good because it didn't have that rough roasted character. It was just this nice coffee flavor without any bitterness.
Right.
And it was fantastic. I'm really glad we hit that one.
Yeah, that was exciting. I'm looking up some of these geisha coffee beans, and I don't know if this is the correct thing I'm looking at, but 24 ounces costs $170.
Dang.
Yeah, so I think that's why
they put some money into that
they're
one.
saying it's no joke with those coffee beans, like that they use those. So
man, they poured that for free at the beer festival. Oof.
Yeah, that's fun when you get to do some of those times poured. We had so that was a good experience. They actually had a separate line that kind of formed. So the main lineup was available on one line, And then they created a separate line, and they were doing a good job of managing it. There were some people that were in the main line that I saw get kicked out to the sideline because they wanted to try that beer. We did not have the same experience trying to drink Utopias.
Yeah. Well, and I think and thinking about it, it's so smart because it's going to be a timed release. You don't want to try and be in the line at the right time so that you get up to the front, because you get up to the front 1 minute early and you have to pick some other beer and then go back to that.
Right.
You need a separate line if you're going to do a time thing. It just makes sense. And yeah, that Utopia. So if you don't know, this beer is, we've talked about this before, but it's I think 26% or something.
It's some absurd.
Yeah, it's a really high ABV. This is a beer that Sam Adams has made. Actually, we listened to Sam Galagione from Dogfish Head. We listened to him do a little talk thing, and he mentioned some sort of fight between them and Sam Adams. They were doing
to make
who
the
could make
beer.
the stronger beer. Yeah, and so that's kind of what this beer was born out of, was that competition. And it's aged in 10 different kinds of barrels, and it's just
absurd,
ridiculous. But it's one of those things well, if you're gonna try it, you might as well try it for free at the beer festival, because these bottles of these are $200 and something. It's a ridiculous price to pay for a beer. So we really wanted to do it and experience it, but so did everyone else at the beer festival.
Well, and this year they didn't do a line.
Yeah,
so what
they didn't do a
is,
separate line. Yeah,
about 30 minutes before they were going to pour it, there was just a pack of people gathering around the station, not walking up and ordering beers. They're just there to pounce. And I kind of asked one of the guys working, I was like, are you guys going to create a dedicated line for Utopias? And he's like, just be creative. And then there was 100 people there being creative, quote unquote. But it was going to become chaos.
Yeah, a big mob.
And I didn't like it. So we were just swayed by that process.
Yeah, we protested and
by not. Well, that's because we tried both times, and the first time we got there just way too late, and there was just a massive press of people. But it became pretty obvious that's what was going to happen the second time, and we just didn't really want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think I don't know, it was just too many bodies.
Yeah.
I don't really like those situations where it's weird, because honestly, throughout the whole festival, it's kind of hard because you have these, especially the breweries with longer lines, you kind of are in the walkway, and so people have to kind of walk in front of you. Mm-hmm. And everyone is just so happy and to be there, and they're very nice, and nobody's for the most part, you don't really have rudeness, you know. And I just felt like it was going to be the one situation where bad behavior was going to come out, and it just didn't seem like it.
Had a bad vibe. I might write a long email to Sam Adams.
Yeah, we both have emails to write.
Because I know, you're right. I remember when we didn't know what Utopias was, we saw this massive, single file line.
Yeah.
And we were like, what is this line? And it was the Utopias line. So I know historically they've made a dedicated line for it. They just didn't want to deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, they should almost put them in a place where they can have a nice line that wraps. Mm-hmm. Put them in an end cap that faces the open area or something. And actually, that's a great segue into the organization of the islands. Okay, maybe we're just dumb, or we get drunk and confused, or something.
No, it was not us.
So it was all alphabetical this year. Except for, the ones you want to go to.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Some of these really good breweries had, bigger end cap displays. Well, they didn't put them anywhere near the letter they were supposed to be at. So Weldworks, a W brewery, is at the end of one of the islands that had N's. Yeah. And the other problem is that this GABF app that is web-based is completely useless because you don't have service in this building.
Yeah.
And every once in a while you have a pocket of service where you could load the map, but not always. So unless you can find one of the maps that they have on the wall or something, it's just why? It's literally impossible. If you don't know, you don't know, and there's not really anybody to ask.
No. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating because you would just go to the letter, walk the whole island, and not see it. And you see the spot where it would be, alphabetically, and you're like, wait, where is it?
Yeah.
You kind of just had to wander and look for it.
Yeah. So that was I don't know why they do that. I really just don't. I mean, just put it, if you get an end cap, just put it somewhere by those letters.
Put it by the letters.
Yeah.
Other than that, the alphabetical order did work good, but we ran into 3 or 4 breweries that we just could not find.
Yeah.
We eventually found them. Except, did we find all of them? I feel like we gave up on one of them.
We never found Pizza Port.
Right.
Which we were really excited to try because they won so many awards, but
Yeah.
we just couldn't find them.
Well, we were suffering from the effect of like when you get kind of tipsy, you get kind of distracted.
Oh
So
yeah.
we'd be going somewhere, but then we would see like 5 things along the way and stop for those, and then forget where we were going.
Actually, one of the surprises that I forgot I wanted to go there was Shades Brewing.
Mhm.
They're the ones that had all those sours, the ones that were like
Oh,
they had
right.
the prickly pear, the pina colada.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Oh yeah, it was a peach cobbler sour. And I follow Shades on Instagram. They're actually out of Salt Lake City.
Mhm.
So it's just interesting to me when you get a good brewery out of Utah.
Yeah.
Not known for their beer prowess.
Yeah.
But
Alcohol consumption.
yeah, but no, they do some really fun stuff, and they're really big in the Salt Lake City community, and so it was cool to support them and drink their beer. Their sours were really good.
Yeah, we saw that was another kind of thing we kind of noticed is we saw what was a topic during the speech from was it Sam?
Sam Galagioni.
Yeah, from Dogfish Head. Someone asked him kind of like, when are we ever going to get back to like 2019 numbers of beer sales? It was one of the brewers that was there, and one of his points is that the tastes have sort of changed a little bit. Then he said like I can't remember what percentage of the market share is consumed by people like 20
to 35. Or
yeah, 20
like
to 35, and kind of like what they like is deviating. He even said the craft beer. What did he say? Something along the lines of craft beer is what my dad drinks, or something like that. Yeah, it was kind of like he kind of summed it up perfectly in a single phrase without realizing he had done it, and it was rubbed a lot of the brewers there the wrong way. But I think he's right to a certain extent, and it wasn't really reflected at the beer fest because there was only a few places that had like smoothie sours at all, and they kicked instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had to make it a point to go the second day directly to
Corporate Ladder
and
903.
903.
Well, and then even breweries like WorldWorks, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the first beer that kicked today was a boba sour.
Their boba sour kicked, and they had
Pog boba sour.
4 Medioniche like super rare collaborations, and those lasted longer than the boba sour. Yeah.
It's just like that's the beer landscape.
Yeah.
And what was interesting though was you could tell that there was a lot of interest among the people around us in these stouts too, in these barrel aged stouts. So it's like that I feel like is always just going to be where the nerds go.
Yeah.
And the other drinking crowd is want to drink stuff that they like, and really that's the smoothie sours, the sours, fruited stuff. And I mean, I think like there will always be those people that like the West Coast IPAs and hoppy stuff, but certainly was not a highlight of the beer festival this year.
No,
at all.
Yeah, it was really hard to find some of the.
We only had a few hoppy things on our list.
And I looked through, I remember we did a pretty intense search of what was going to be there.
Yeah.
There just wasn't that many super high rated. And I think that change is really, really slow because when you have you have a 15-year range of people that are making up 70% of the drinking, but you have to remember that if it's 15 years from now, that's a whole new group of people that they are going to have different tastes. And so it is kind of interesting because you do have the old heads there, which I guess we're kind of part of almost. But I kind of still like those styles that are popular. And of course, you're going to have people that are new to the beer scene that end up liking some of the older styles too. But it's just kind of everything changes a little bit. And he's kind of saying like, you don't have to sell your soul. Like you can still do what you want to do, but you do have to be a little bit in tune to what people are buying.
Yeah. And it was pretty funny to sit there and listen to him say that. And I mean, it's actually nice that he was saying it because this is Sam Galagioni. I mean, he's kind of one of the OGs.
Yeah.
So if he's telling you to make a smoothie sour, like you should probably be making a smoothie. You know what I mean? Like if he's telling, and he makes weird stuff. Dogfish Head has always made weird stuff, but I think the really good point because he said if I was starting a brewery right now.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And maybe that's a little bit of the difference is if he was starting it now, he would be doing stuff. Well, one, he'd be doing stuff like the smoothie sours and stuff, but he would also not be looking at distributing. Yeah,
he said I would try to sell 100% of my beer.
Yeah, all locally. On premises, which we've been saying here at Attenuation of Beer Podcast is the secret to success.
Well, in this like super saturated
in this market.
He kind of basically said verbatim kind of what we talked about before, is that like when he started, there wasn't that much competition. So you're this novel thing. And there wasn't a lot of people drinking craft beer back then either, but as it got more popular, they were able to expand.
Yeah,
and
there
not
was
really
this
run
sweet
into
spot
each
of
other.
time
Yeah.
where, you could. Well, I mean, look, it's Dogfish Head, Sam Adams. I mean, I really feel like the Brewers Association, their definition of like craft beer, they just make it so like Sam Adams fits that. Right? Like, Sam Adams gets bigger, they bump that number up a little bit higher to just make sure that Sam Adams, so they don't lose that whole percentage, because it's like it still is, it's craft beer, and but it's on a distribution level. It's so much different than really what, like, I think what most breweries can do now. I mean, Stone had that for a long time, but even they like got in trouble with expanding.
Yeah.
So
it's just a different playing field now.
Yeah, but the idea that like a brewery now, you really should be focusing on your local community and on-premise beer sales.
Yeah, and because he was saying, you make 100% on the on-premise, but when you're distributing, you're paying 30% of your profit to the distributor, and then 30% to the end sales, like the store it ends up in. So it's a good point. You do. It is you get a little bit less, you get a lot less margin on stuff you're selling off-premise.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about sours now.
Okay.
Because I drank some good ones today. Ferris Spontaneous from Firestone Walker.
That was so good.
Probably my favorite beer of the whole thing. Just because I can't pick a stout for that because I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And I love a spontaneous sour. So Ferris Spontaneous from Firestone Walker. Firestone Walker was very high on my list too today of breweries that I just love. We had a coconut parabola.
That was so good.
Fantastic. You drank something else from them. I drank something, it was called the Brewer's Reserve or something. It was a smoked porter. It was a barrel-aged smoked porter.
Yes.
It was really, really good. I love that smoky flavor in that. And then you drank
this Boiler Room or something.
Boiler Room, yeah.
Or something boiler. It was a milk stout, barrel-aged.
Boilermaker. Yeah. You liked that one?
I liked it. It was really sweet. It was pretty good. I liked the parabola the best.
Yeah, that coconut parabola was pretty bomb. But yeah, Ferris Spontaneous. So that I really liked the peach pie sour from Weldworks.
I was gonna say, you like the Weldworks sour.
Yeah, I always like Weldworks sours.
I think Weldworks had the best lineup.
Like, as a whole.
Yeah, because they had Juicy Bits.
Yep. I had the
fresh hop Juicy Bits.
Was so good. Did you try that one?
Yeah, I tried it.
It was really good. Especially like I'm pretty intimately familiar with Juicy Bits. Like, it's one of my favorite beers of all time. So a fresh hop version, they really did it right. Like, it just was a very, very fresh tasting Juicy Bits.
Yeah.
It was good.
And then they had sours, because they had unfortunately missed it, but they had the boba sour. And then they had that peach sour. And then they had a variety of other beers. And then they had 4 barrel aged.
They had Otra Noche.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about Otra Noche. But yeah, the regular Medianoche, Starry Noche.
Yes. There's a coconut.
Yeah, coconut coffee Medianoche.
And then Otra.
And then Otra Noche. You want to talk about Otra
Oh
Noche?
yeah, well, I was so excited. I didn't know this existed, but it was one I really wanted to try, just the regular 2022 vintage, because I had heard it's an amazing barrel-aged stout, and it was. But they had one that was a collaboration with Other Half, and they added caramel, banana, and vanilla.
Yeah.
And it paired. It was perfect. Like, it's exactly the flavors that could mix into that beer. It was so good. But we went back. I went back to get it again, but it was gone. Because I wanted to drink it a second time.
I'm a big fan of banana being added to my stouts.
Yes.
And in fact, like, one of the first stouts I ever had was at the beer fest the first year from New Holland. They don't never come back. They don't come to the beer festival anymore. But New Holland Brewing, they have their Dragon's Milk.
Yeah, Dragon's Milk.
Which is a very it's an interesting, like, that's kind of your commercially available barrel-aged stout.
It's like I would consider it like a gateway beer to the barrel-aged stout.
Because it is barrel-aged, I think, even just a regular Dragon's Milk.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, but they have this Dragon's Milk Reserve series, and so they've done multiple different iterations with different adjuncts. But the one I tried at the beer festival the first year was banana coconut, I believe. Some sort of banana iteration. And I just remember drinking it thinking like, oh, maybe I Ken likes stouts.
Yeah.
Just love the banana. I love banana splits.
Yes.
That's what I used to always get at like Dairy Queen and stuff. So I just love the banana chocolate mix.
Yeah, it's a really excellent combination. You don't see it done that often.
No. Yeah, that Ocho Noche was fantastic.
Yeah, so they just had an incredible lineup, and they had a really nice end cap. There was big lines,
Yep.
but they were moving quickly. They were pouring fast.
Yeah, I mean, they poured from like 4 different stations.
Mm-hmm.
They had 4 different lines, and it was going fast. And they had nice
And
big signage.
we got back in the line like 4 times.
Yeah. And what's funny too is actually when I first got in the line, it kind of, the way they had their menu set up, it kind of looked like maybe you could only get certain beers from that certain line. But then they had a nice big sign that said, no, all beers are pouring from every line. So it was just, their signage was good. Their
and they did
lineup
something
was awesome.
I really appreciated. Like, if you're going to go all the way to Great American Beer Festival, and you're going to bring these like ultra rare collabs, they were spraying out the taster. They basically, all the pourers had a water bottle, a mister, and they would just like saturate the inside of your glass and pour it off, just so you make sure you had fresh, clean glass. Otherwise, because you really can't contaminate if you're drinking like a 14% barrel aged stout, and then you just drink it, but there's a little bit left in the bottom of the glass, and they pour something else into that that's like light.
Yeah,
it does affect it.
Yeah, it's funny actually. This is because this is the first year where we were really drinking. I was drinking a lot of stouts. I was like, man, these beers are like sticky. They coat that glass.
Yeah,
like
you really got to
crazy.
rinse them out.
Yeah, you really had. I used a lot of water every time I washed my glass out because they stick around.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other beers that stood out? Did you like the? We spent actually a little bit of time over at the Wish We Were Here.
Oh yeah. Well, unfortunately, they didn't have the smoke.
Yeah, we did not find the Alaskan Smoked Porter. I think there were different lineups at that Wish We Were Here section, depending on the session. I'm not sure. But yeah, they did not have Alaskan Smoked Porter.
There was a sleeper there.
Did you like Nightmare Fuel?
I did really like Nightmare Fuel. But there was, I think the real sleeper of the whole place was one of the ones that was Wish You Were There. It was Assembled Armor from Belgium Brewing. It's a blend of imperial stouts and barley wine, aged in bourbon barrels with sesame seeds, smoked sea salt, maple syrup, and cinnamon. It was wild. It was
Sounds
so
wild.
good. But yeah, it was just kind of like this random beer there. They had, 20 bottles of it, and they were just pouring it out of the bottles. Really cool, like samurai on the bottle. So
that's awesome.
It was fun. It was just kind of like a random beer I wasn't expecting to try, and it was very good.
Yeah, I actually I found a really good one there too. There were 2 beers. One called Germophile. This was one of the other wild ales that I really liked. It's called Germophile, and then they had a Germophile pineapple version. And these were from Rowley Farmhouse Brewing or Rowley Farms, something. I think it's in New Mexico, Santa Fe, I believe. And they were really, really, really good. Nice, biting, sour beers. The pineapple one was really like biting into like the most sour pineapple, but like very fresh tasting. It was super good. Yeah, some winners over there for sure. Ooh, I got to try Kolshan Goza.
Yeah, we both did.
Heavy metal table. That was good.
It's perfect Goza.
Yeah. Yep, I drank it, and then I went straight back and just got another glass.
Yeah, I saw you get more.
And it was funny because the guy was like kind of caught off guard because I was just there, and then I was getting the same beer, and he was like, oh again? Oh, okay, all right. Like, yes, I need more of this.
Yeah, it's quite the privilege to pay to a beer when you have like 500 choices to drink one twice.
Yeah. We didn't get anything from Reuben's, but they didn't have their Goza.
No.
If it had Reuben's Goza, I would have got that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But they were one that they brought some IPAs, hazy IPAs, old news. Actually, I tried the hazy IPA from Weldworks as well, Robo Boogie.
Okay, yeah.
And it was very good. It didn't like blow me away, but it was very good. And they ran out of that too, so.
Yeah, a lot of stuff ran out. That's crazy.
So, a successful beer fest.
I feel like we learned a couple new tips and tricks too.
Okay, what is that?
So the number one tip and trick is just go like 5 minutes after the session starts.
Yeah, I think that was kind of by accident. We just sort of
accident. It was by accident.
Yeah, just we were doing so much we tried to get so much done in the first day, and by the time we got to our hotel finally and got to the beer festival, and even then, like, we still were kind of waiting in line.
Yeah.
But
the first year we went, we were like, we went hours early, and you stand in line outside the building, and then it takes forever to go in the building, and then you're standing like on the floor, but they like lock you in the the pens basically.
The cattle gate.
Yeah, the cattle gates, and then we stood there for like an hour. And the problem is, like, maybe this is me being old, but then you've been on your legs for 2 hours standing before you even start the 4-hour beer session.
Yeah.
And you're just like tired, like right off the bat. I mean, you got a lot of adrenaline, but your legs just tire out faster. Whereas if you just go like 5 minutes after the session starts, you kind of just like walk through everything.
Yeah.
Everything goes real quick, and you make it in. I think we were in like 12 minutes after the session started. So you haven't really missed anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have tried maybe like 5 or 6 things in that window, but I don't know. We just,
if even that.
And then we kind of just went straight to we kind of kept track of what kick that we missed on the first session and just went straight for those.
Yeah.
And
that was nice. It's nice just to walk straight in.
Yeah. I think you sacrifice like 15 minutes. I think it's your first time and you want to be there like the second it starts. There is a level of excitement to that. I remember like everyone cheers and they ring a big bell or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's, I don't know, if it's not your first time, and I think you do gain a lot of just so much more relaxing just to roll in.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
don't lose that much. Oh, and my second tip is just go to the porta potties.
Oh yeah, it's so much faster.
No one likes the porta potties. The lines for the bathrooms are super long, but if you go to the porta potty section, they'll have like a door that says more bathrooms. They just have like 1,000 porta potties lined up. You can just use one right away.
Yeah, there was basically no waiting.
Yeah, and they all had hand sanitizer in them.
Yeah, some people just like a real bathroom, I guess, or maybe they just don't know about it. But the porta potty section. That's a good tip.
Yep, you'll definitely save.
And you have to walk right by the karaoke stage, so you get lovely drunk people singing. Yeah. We got Yasso ice cream bars both sessions. That was awesome. Eat as much as you can while you drink beer because it helps. And then I guess we have to talk about our the hangover cure.
Oh yeah.
So we drink a lot of Gatorade. That's been good. But we also use this stuff called NAC, which was recommended to me by a coworker. It found me actually a couple days before we left and said, "Hey, you have to try this." And it's actually what they give to people who have overdosed on Tylenol.
Okay.
So it's very, very liver protective. So the one chemical is N-acetyl L-cysteine, or NAC for short, NAC. So they give it both in Tylenol overdose, and they also give it in like to people who have been like very, very drunk, like alcohol toxicity kind of like a
poisoning.
Too much alcohol. And then it comes in like a supplement form with some other, like a bunch of B vitamins, the B12, which we talked about on the Hangover Cure episode. Yeah, that's a vitamin that alcoholics are deficient in. So it's just one of those things like, probably not a horrible thing to give you. The daily value is 10,000.
Oh, wow.
If you take 3 capsules, which you're supposed to take 3 before you drink and 3 after you drink. So you get like 20,000 times your recommended daily value of B12. But it's a water-soluble vitamin, so you'll just pee out whatever your body doesn't use. But they hit you hard with that. So it's just got kind of like a multivitamin, and then it's got that NAC and some milk thistle seed, which apparently is another liver protective supplement. So, but I felt like it worked.
I do too. I woke up the next day and I kind of described it to Steven like I felt like I had a hangover, but I felt like someone put a big warm blanket over it. So like if I didn't pay attention to it, I would stop noticing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I felt pretty terrible coming back to the hotel from the first session, and I was really worried that I was just going to feel terrible in the morning, but I did all the things. I drank my fluids and this supplement, and man.
You were strong the second day. We were fine.
Yeah, no, I woke up this morning feeling great. I worked out, went for a walk.
Incredible.
So
Detox, if you're listening, please sponsor us. I told Steven I'm going to start taking it when we record the podcast, and I'm drinking a big barrel-aged stout. Because sometimes the next day at work, I'm not feeling great.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about New Belgium at all?
Yeah, that was really fun. First thing we did when we got into town was drove to New Belgium and did the tour. It was an excellent tour. It was another one of those perfect capitalist businesses where, like, by not being ultra greedy, they were very vocal about the fact that they all got paid a living wage. So
Yeah.
they even had a staff doctor
Mm-hmm.
that all the staff were able to just see, like, schedule appointments with. Incredible. They have a private doctor.
Yeah, and they also like don't pay anything for their health benefits. It's all
Yeah,
paid
so you have
for.
all this happy staff. We wanted to open a bottle and share it because I kind of just wanted to try it. And they were nice enough to treat us with it and kind of shared it with everybody, realizing that we were just going to kind of share it with the whole bar.
Yeah, I mean, we were just gonna drink a little bit of it until I think he just realized, because we were kind of toying with the idea of, hey, can we like share this with a bunch of people around us or something? But it just like there wasn't really
There wasn't a good spot.
a good spot to just do that. So so I think he just recognized like, hey, these guys are just gonna drink a little bit of this. Like, let's just open this and share this with everybody and charge us for it. So.
Yeah, so that was awesome. The tour was awesome.
I love too. They don't take tips there.
Yeah.
They pay their staff well and they don't need them. And so if you want a tip, they have a tip bucket, and the employees get to choose where the money goes to, some sort of nonprofit around the community or something. So it's just one of those like really, really feel good things, or just like they just do it perfectly. They just treat their people good.
Yeah, everyone's happy.
Yeah, there was there was like a bike rack in the back with all these New Belgium fat tire bikes, and I was like, oh, like what is this bike collection? And she said, oh, at your 1 year anniversary working for New Belgium, you get a fat tire bike, and the design is different every year.
It's so cool. Me and Steven wanted to move here and work there.
I know. I was like, where's the application?
Yeah, the tour was great. I think they give the tour guides a lot of leeway they serve you a ton of beer, and good beer too. And the tour is amazing. It's like on the level of the Sierra Nevada tour and the Russian River tour, where it's like a lot of thought has gone into the tour, and you get to see basically all the steps of the process, including their very cool Merlin.
Yeah. What was that? The yeast tank?
It was. Yes, I think that's correct. It's one of, I think they said there's only 2 in America, but it's this.
Them and Lagunitas have one.
Yeah, it's a massive tank, and rather than like fire heating it from the bottom or not fire heating.
Oh, that was the boil tank.
Yes, right. Okay, the boil tank. Yeah, and the basically like continuously cycles the beer over this huge cone in the middle, and the cone gets insanely hot. So you have a ton of heating surface area. So you can very rapidly bring up the temperature without kind of burning some of it. It's cool. But yeah, you get to see all the tanks, and they had a slide at the end.
Yeah, that slide. That was pretty legit. I didn't think I was going to go down as fast as I did. It was once you got on it.
Yeah, check out the gram. I think Steven put a
you can
reel up.
See the
you can see him
GoPro version of going down the slide. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a really fun tour, a real feel-good place, and obviously they make a lot of really excellent beer.
Yep.
Only disappointment was they didn't have
Le Terroir.
They didn't have it on tap. They had like a weird walnut version.
Green walnut variant.
That was not as good as the original.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, it wasn't as sour and had kind of this strange nuttiness to it, but it was okay. It just wasn't the real thing. The beer that the bottle that we shared with the staff, it was this beer called Adding Corners. And it was really interesting because last year I was here with my wife in Denver and we went to New Belgium. Unfortunately, the tours weren't going back then, so we didn't get to do that. But I drank this Adding Corners beer on tap, and it was delicious. It was like this sour ale aged on in some sort of cherry barrel. I can't remember. Anyway, it was just so good. It had this great cherry complexity to it, a great sourness to it. And what was interesting is that this bottle that we drank yesterday was a year old. Right? It's from last year that had aged. And so it was interesting, both from my perspective of having had it before and the staff. They all were like, oh, wow, that's really mellowed out. A lot less sour, a lot less cherry forward. It was really interesting to see how even just a year of aging had changed the beer that drastically.
Yeah, it was wild. I still liked it, but I didn't have the original to compare it to. But yeah, I don't know. Adding time is not always the best.
not
You're
always,
changing
no.
things, and sometimes you change things further than you kind of want them to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, overall, that was a really, really, really good. That was a fun experience. That tour is really, really cool. We had a great tour guide, I think, too. That helped.
Yeah, that was great. That was a really fun addition to the trip.
And we didn't hike
No,
because we're too old.
We're old, and we didn't. And we are on a very short time window this time, especially. I feel so.
Yeah.
By adding in that brewery visit, I think that kind of took away our hiking time. It was fine.
Yeah. No, it was good. Well, cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
GABF 2022.
Yeah, and we got to record in person, so it's pretty cool.
So strange.
It's really weird.
Yeah, let's not do this again.
Yeah, go away.
Yeah, let's go back.
I want to see you on a computer screen in the privacy of my own home. All right, well, this has been a very special episode 80 of Attenuation of Beer podcast. You can reach out to us. We're on Instagram at attenuation.podcast. Steven's getting very good at reels. I would suggest you check them out.
So good.
And we're also available at attenuation.contact@gmail.com. So my name is Jason, and gosh, I don't have my script.
I was just going to say, like, are you okay?
Yeah, I can't believe I remember the contacts, but I don't have my script in front of me. Let's see. My name is Jason. I'm joined by my best friend, 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
Saying cheers, and we'll see you next week. There we go. I got it for episode 81.
Nailed it. All right. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a Beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!